I was speaking to a friend of mine who is a manufacturer in China, and we were basically having a conversation about basically kind of different products. And this is one thing that I've always mentioned. I mention it in my 8-week brain startup, and I kind of mention it here and there in some calls, but also kind of repurposing materials. So what I mean by that is basically he manufactures products based around carbon fiber, right? So they do a lot of carbon fiber products. And they also do, so they do carbon fiber, they do injection plastic molding. But I remember speaking to him and we're having kind of a good discussion. I said to him, well, can we essentially just use other products that are made from plastic and make them into carbon fiber? And we're chatting about that. And I said, how about shin pads? And he said, definitely you can do shin pads in carbon fiber. So that's kind of a really good way also. And it kind of gets you thinking a little bit too. How many products are there, right, in the world on Amazon that are made out of plastic that could be better off if they were made from carbon fiber. Now, obviously, carbon fiber is an expensive material. It's not that cheap, but it depends also who you're going to be targeting, right? And so, for example, if you're looking at shin pads, you're going to be targeting obviously the athletes who are probably at that higher level, maybe sporting clubs, etc. But you can actually do it. And I was speaking to him about it, and we had a really good conversation about it. And he said to me that it can definitely be done. He was talking to me through the whole process on how they can actually do it, and all that jazz. And what he does also, which he shared with me, is they have a contract with an airline, and they're changing the seats of the plane to carbon fiber, right? Imagine how amazing that is. And he was telling me about how basically by doing that, what they're doing is they're reducing around about, I can't remember how many tons, it was a lot of tons, I think about 1 ton or something like that of weight from the plane. It's not only going to be reducing emissions, reducing the cost of fuel, but it also allows them with that extra weight to actually haul extra cargo, right? And basically make money from transportation also. And I thought that was just absolutely genius. So they're working on those. They also do scooters, and they're also starting to get into cars and things related to carbon fiber. But I was kind of really interested in the fact of carbon fiber for general day-to-day products or sporting products. And he thinks the sporting niche is going to be a big one implementing carbon fiber things. So I thought I'd share that with you guys because I found it very, very interesting. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of parts, and even like safety equipment and things like that, right? So anything around safety equipment, maybe even like helmets or things like that. But yeah, in sporting, it works really good because carbon fiber is a very lightweight material, right? So it's actually lighter. So when you're wearing shin pads or things like that, it's actually a lot lighter for them. He did also mention another thing they're putting it in, but again, I can't mention that. Maybe I should just not said that, right? But all good. So yeah, some really, really great ideas there. And again, like repurposing is a good idea. Looking at a product that's selling really well and saying, well, that product is made out of plastic. Maybe I can make it out of carbon fiber. Maybe I can make it out of wood. Maybe I can make it out of bamboo. And kind of think like that. Because sometimes when we think about differentiation or differentiating a product, we kind of overcomplicate it sometimes, but we just need to know those particular ideas that I'm sharing, and then it becomes a lot easier. Medical equipment aids for sure. Another thing is this was a product or a brand that was shared with me in 2013 when I kind of just got first started. And I had a friend of mine, he said to me, Sam, have you heard of the nut milk bag? And I said, no, I didn't really hear of it back then. He was telling me to get into it, and I was like, no, I'm not going to get into it. And I didn't get into it, but it was interesting because when I started looking at these particular types of products, and I'm going to show them now. So this was a kind of an emerging trend, right? Nut milk bags were an emerging trend. They were still kind of coming out. No one really knew what they were. But basically, when all the listings came out, they all came out and all the hero images didn't have any of these labels on there, right? So what happened was if you imagine this page with no labels, right? So everyone just had these kind of plain white cloths. And and then this particular brand came along here, Ali's Best, this one here on the far left, right? So Ali's Best came along, and what she did was she was the very first one to put a label on the actual bag, right? And she did, she put bigger, better nut milk bag, right? And that's all she did. Right, and hers were bigger and better, right? In the nut milk bag, and basically what happened was she just smashed it, right? And she's been on there now for about 7 or 8 years, and these nut milk bags are worth about 10 cents each, right? They're very, very cheap, and she basically made a really good business about it. And that was again, it was another opportunity that was there. So sometimes you can go into niches and you can have a look at something and see, well, this is a new niche or it's a new trend, and no one really has done anything special yet, right? And you can get in there, and really all she did was again make the nutmeg a little bit bigger, and also just put that label right there. Because if you imagine if there was no one that had labels on these, and then your one comes up as bigger, better, people are going to buy yours, right? And she sells even the actual bags themselves, the larger bags, she sells them for $50, right? And again, this product is only worth about 30 cents, right? 30 cents per actual nut milk bag, probably even cheaper than that. And and she does really, really well. So this is there we go. So five, right? So you got package quantity five, 47.97, right? And this is also kind of another little strategy for you guys. One thing that you can do is when you're actually looking at, if you have variations of a product, and let's say it's size variations, then what I would encourage you to do is to actually have your first product, right, at either cost price or a very, a low price. Because on the actual hero image, or sorry, when someone types in nut milk bag into Amazon, that first product is a product that's going to come up, right? So what you could do is you could basically put your product at cost price, and then the other two, three, and five packets, this is where you're going to make your money. So this is going to drive the traffic, right? This is what's going to drive the traffic, because people look at it, oh yeah, it's not a bad price, it looks pretty good. And then as people get in, and then this is basically going to make you, the money. So that's kind of a good idea. Sometimes a little bit of a strategy there if you wanted to do that.